Hey, so today we're talking about something that completely transformed my health last year, creating energetic boundaries that honor your hormonal health. So if you've been feeling exhausted, you might be experiencing irregular cycles, mood swings, or just can't seem to get your energy back, no matter how well you're eating or exercising, this video is for you, okay? So last spring, I hit a wall, frankly. I was doing all the things you're supposed to do, saying yes to every opportunity, yes to all of my clients and patients being available 24/7, 365, joining friends for everything I could, really extending myself a lot to family. I was literally the king of I can handle it all. And my calendar was packed. And I've done this before. I should have learned my lesson, right? I was running on pure adrenaline. And then my body, frankly, rebelled. I was hit with just complete exhaustion in the afternoons. I was emotionally all over the place. I couldn't sleep, even though I was exhausted, that tired and wired feeling. And that's when I decided to do some lab work and get down to the nitty gritty of everything. And I started to also think about how are my boundaries? And are my boundaries actually serving my hormonal health or not when it comes to cortisol? I'd never really connected these two things before, but it's kind of led me into what I really do now, to put boundaries into the aspect of the teaching and coaching work that I do with people. So here's what I've learned since then, is that your hormonal system is like an exquisitely sensitive energy meter. It notices everything, especially when you're overriding your body's own signals. So each time you say yes when you really mean no, right? Each time you push through exhaustion, each time you prioritize everyone else's needs over your own, right? Sound familiar? Your endocrine system, the control center for all of your hormones in your body, it's really taking detailed notes, frankly, and eventually it's going to demand to be heard. It's going to come out with a scream. So I want to talk a little bit about the fascinating science that's going on within you. So when you consistently override your body's signals and we end up operating beyond our energetic capacity, we activate our sympathetic nervous system. This is our fight or flight response. This triggers a cascade of stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are meant for short-term emergencies, not as your daily fuel source. And this is where nervous system regulation becomes so important, because this state of psychological stress, it disrupts the delicate balance of reproductive hormones like estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. A recent study actually found that women with higher reported stress levels showed significant disruptions in ovulation and menstrual regularity compared to those with lower levels of reported stress. So we are now in spring. This is a season of expansion, growth, outward energy. Nature's literally bursting forth, right? You can see it all around you when you look. Many of us feel called to do the same. We're tired of winter, we're done, we're ready to put it out there again. But here's the paradox, because spring's expansive energy actually requires clearer boundaries than winter's naturally containing energy. Does that make sense? Think about it. Think of a garden. So every spring, everything wants to grow, okay? But a successful garden actually needs room to grow and have thoughtful borders and be pruned. Without all that, you get into chaos, right? So not trimming the plants, your energy works the same way. So without conscious boundaries during this expansive season, you risk depleting your vital hormonal system and it goes into chaos, precisely when you're undergoing your own seasonal adjustments. There's a hormonal cost to this. I want to get specific about what happens in your body when boundaries are consistently crossed. Your hormones pay a heavy, heavy price. First, cortisol dysregulation, because when we're constantly available to everyone else's needs, our body stays in stress response. Over time, this leads to adrenal fatigue, stubborn weight gain around the midsection, those 3 a.m. wake-ups that leave you staring at the ceiling, mind racing, and think of all of the horrible things that can happen in the world in your life, right? Second, estrogen and progesterone imbalance. So excessive stress can actually lead to estrogen dominance and suppress progesterone. This shows up as heavier periods, intense PMS, that make you feel crazy, and even conditions like endometriosis and fibroids. Wild, right? So third is thyroid disruption. Your thyroid is incredibly sensitive to stress. Poor boundaries can contribute to hypothyroid symptoms like fatigue, hair loss, and that feeling of just being sluggish all the time. And I'm prone to hypothyroid in my family, so I gotta watch out for that one myself. I've seen this with so many different clients over the years. One woman, I'm just gonna call her Sophia, just to make up a name here, came with me with persistent fatigue, irregular periods, unexplained weight gain, despite eating well and exercising regularly. I see this all the time. The primary issue, right, for Sophia were no boundaries between work and personal life. She was constantly available to clients, sacrificing sleep to meet client demands. Does any of this sound familiar to you? I know I have been there. I just talked about it at the beginning of this video. So let's talk about some solutions. I always want to leave you with some solutions to go on here. So aligning your boundary practices with the seasons actually provides a natural framework for hormonal health. Here are 3 specific practices for spring, okay? First, selective expansion. Rather than saying yes to everything that spring presents, choose consciously, right? Where you direct your expanding energy. Just as like a gardener doesn't plant seeds in every inch of soil, but creates intentional spaces for growth, you need to decide where your energy will be most fruitfully invested, okay? You can ask yourself, does this commitment align with my current season of life and health? It's always a big one. Oftentimes we bring in who we were in the past into the present, it just might not fit. So if you're expanding in one area, what can you contain or release in another? Sometimes editing and pruning is the way to do it. Second practice, energy tracking. So during spring, you can track your energy levels throughout your menstrual cycle or circadian rhythms if you're not menstruating or if you're a man. Notice the correlation between boundary violations and energy depletion. Begin identifying your own unique energy signatures that indicate you're approaching your limit before reaching complete and total exhaustion. For me, I've exceeded my capacity when I start dropping things or making small mistakes, little things like that. That's my body's early warning system. A lot of my friends might tell you I'm kind of clumsy and trip all over the place, but I think that's part of it. Third practice, permission for rest, right? Spring's growth is not constant, right? Even plants have cycles of rest within their growth spurts. You're no different. Give yourself explicit permission to rest, even amid the seasonal energy of all this activity. This might look like blocking recovery days in your calendar following periods of high output. And now I want to wrap us up here a little bit with some boundary scripts we can do. So there's a really practical one. One of the biggest challenges in establishing boundaries is finding the right words to express them clearly and compassionately. This is not about being a jerk. I'm going to give you some ready-to-use scripts that you can use to customize your life so it doesn't feel like you're just completely ghosting people in your life. So here's one for work requests that are actually beyond your capacity once you've tapped in. I appreciate you thinking of me for this project. Currently, my work schedule is at full capacity, and taking this on would compromise the quality of my existing commitments and health. I can recommend someone else or revisit this in the future when I have more bandwidth. It's a really good one, right? Very clear, it's very polite. You're offering a solution. For social invitations during low energy phases, thank you for the invitation. I'm currently in a phase of rest that requires just more of downtime for me, and I'm honoring my body's needs. I'd love to connect when I have more energy to be fully present. Could we plan for something for another date instead? That last sentence is really, really key. And even just that alone is going to be fine. For familial expectations, sometimes this is the hardest. Spring has a lot of stuff going on. I value our time tremendously to show up as my best self. I need to balance our gatherings with adequate personal restoration time, okay? I'll be joining for specific portions of events and then taking care of my well-being needs. How would that land with some of your family members? Remember, the effectiveness of these scripts depends on consistent reinforcement. Some people might not like to hear this, so you might need to restate your boundaries several times before others adjust their expectations. We can also talk about creating a boundary ritual. So rituals help anchor new practices into lives. So here's a seasonal boundary ritual that you can do at the start of each season, but especially now in spring, okay? I kind of like this stuff. So first assessment, review the previous season, so winter. Where did you feel energetically depleted? Where did boundary violations occur? A lot of stuff goes on in the winter with the holidays. Second intention, excuse me, is intention. Set clear intentions for how you wish to protect your energy during spring's outward momentum. So how do we protect during the outward energy that's all around us? Third, visualization. Imagine yourself surrounded by a protective yet permeable energy field, white light, that allows nourishing exchanges while blocking out depleting ones. Fourth, symbolic action. Choose a physical representation of your boundaries, perhaps a bracelet you wear or a stone you might carry that reminds you of your commitment to health and hormonal health in this case in particular. Fifth, documentation. Write down your spring boundaries in a journal or share them with a trusted accountability partner. I do this with my coaching clients. And I actually do this ritual at the beginning of each season. It's been transformative. It actually takes the concept of boundaries from this abstract, weird thing that we don't really quite know what to do with to a concrete practice. And the question then remains, how are you going to recognize success? How will you honor your boundary practices and know that they're working? Your body will tell you, okay? So look for the positive hormonal signs. So if you're a female, more regular menstrual cycles, maybe reduced PMS symptoms, better sleep quality, stable energy throughout the day, better stress recovery, clear skin, consistent mood. After implementing my own boundary practice last spring, I noticed my ability to make it throughout the afternoon without crashing totally disappeared. And some of the more emotional kind of ups and downs I might have had, I had attributed just how my body works. That's significantly diminished, right? I know better, right? But we do these things. These changes don't happen overnight, so be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories along the way. The most beautiful part is that when you set clear, compassionate boundaries that honor your hormonal health, you actually create ripples that extend far beyond your own well-being. You model self-respect for those around you. And in a culture, right, that often rewards self-sacrifice and perpetual availability, your boundary practice becomes a quiet revolution. It really does. You could become the ripple. It's a statement that sustainable living requires sustainable energy management. And wrapping up today, I just want you to leave this invitation with you. Consider your boundaries not as walls that separate, but as nurturing containers that protect the precious ecosystem of your own hormonal health. Listen closely to the wisdom of your body. Honor its rhythms even when they don't align with external expectations. And remember that your energy, it's finite. It's a finite and sacred resource that you have every right to protect. So thanks for watching this. Always great to see you. If you want to do more one-on-one work or have more questions, just hit me up. I've got lots of good stuff for you.